ذكرتوه هذا هيك
Ասա տանտերի մեքենայի յուղ փոխվի։ Այսօր չէ։ Նայ երբեք Սան Ֆրանցիսկոից եկեք ասա Միրան ասա յուղ փոխվի, մեկ շաբաթ անցերը հələ չի տարել։
Լավ, ասենք չենք ասել իրար։
Տամարը ասում գնայան ասա։
Մոչան բայթում յան ասա։
No, but yes, in the car, but make it the shasty or making you pick a pocky. Meshabata and Chesa and making you pocky. Sure, so Malaga some Imamar had come far up Chile, the jam, which are in the shasty. Okay.
So that's mixed. Like, do you start or do I start?
Yeah, so hi, Falanka. I will ask you if it's your first time in therapy, and then you will say yeah, because it is your first time. You're 45 years old.
So just as if I'm coming in for the first time.
Just as if you're coming in for the first time.
You'll set the template for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will set some things up, and then I will ask you if you have questions. Genuinely, if what I explained seems not clear, you can ask questions and I will clarify. And then I will ask you what brings you in after I give my whole spiel, and then you will tell me what brings you in. Is this recording?
Yeah. I'll crop it.
No, man, no recording.
No, why? Just talk and then I'll crop to where it needs to start.
Okay. Yeah. And then I will ask you what brings you in and stuff like that.
Cool.
Betty? Yeah?
Yeah, go. At the framing the lava.
Yeah, it's fine. Doesn't matter. Hi, Arkin.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. Nice meeting you.
It's nice meeting you too. Is this your first time in therapy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
First time ever.
How you feeling?
I'm a bit nervous.
A little bit nervous? That's
Yeah.
okay. That's actually kind of normal. So, I need to tell you a few things about today. Today's session is going to be a little different from usual session. Since it's your first time to therapy, I just want to reassure you that today's session is a bit different than every session that we're going to have later on. I'm going to be asking you a few questions today, and I would like to go over the form that you signed outside, the informed consent form. By the way, did you have any questions regarding that form? I will get into it, the specifics, but...
Well, if you're going to get into it.
Alright. And today is just meant for me to get a better sense of your situation, get to know you since it's my first time meeting you, and get a better understanding of what brings you in, basically. And I do have to go over some housekeeping material, and then after that we can talk about whatever is bringing you in, and that's it.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah. So the form that you signed outside, it does include confidentiality. How much do you know about doctor-patient confidentiality in general? Would you?
I wouldn't say I know it into detail, but
Okay.
I know that.
So whatever we talk about here remains confidential. I am not allowed to share it with anybody, and I won't. And there are a few exceptions regarding our conversations. I will keep records of our conversations. There are a few exceptions under which I am obligated by law to report the conversation if it ever occurs. I'm a mandated reporter. It's conversations regarding child abuse, sexual abuse, dependent adult abuse, and any instances that indicates you harming yourself or someone else. Those are the only exceptions that I would have to report our conversation to authorities. Other than that, anything we talk about, as long as you're not trying to harm yourself or somebody else, and the other aspects, remains confidential, does not leave this room.
Sounds good. Fair enough.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No questions? All clear?
Nope.
Alright, so what brings you in today?
My daughter. I have a 15-year-old daughter who I feel like might be using substances that she shouldn't be using. I feel like she's very moody recently, and I'm worried about her, health, mental and physical. She's been very moody here and there, just like we have fights, endless fights about like the stupidest things, and it escalates to her just being very aggressive and kind of out of control at home, which kind of makes it a bit harder for us to have normal days. Just kind of, I go to work, she goes to school and come back, and then it's time to relax and do homework and all that, and we just kind of go at each other and just kind of
Okay.
have a very hard.
So you mentioned you were suspecting her of using any substances in some of the fights.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the whole, the little things that go on when someone is using, but I notice her mood swings, like changing, like behavior. She's sneaking out of the home, coming back too late, and I've seen her hanging out with like, I don't want to be judging, but like weird looking people, like in sketchy places. It just kind of worries me, and sometimes becomes a huge worry for me.
Okay, I hear you. When did this begin, in a sense that when did you start suspecting things?
The suspicions kind of grew on me in the past 4 months, but the fights have been going on for probably over 8 to almost a year. I don't know, just kind of seeing how she is, it kind of got the thought into me that maybe she's using some stuff, especially like, the kids nowadays, sometimes, they have access to some things through bad friends or whatever they come across.
Yeah.
And so I'm worried that she might be using, and I don't know how to approach it, since like every time I do try to talk to her, it turns into this huge fight, and I don't get an answer.
So you mentioned the fighting occurred about a year ago, and then you have been suspecting that she might be using any substances about 4 months ago. Well, first of all, I completely understand like how tough it must be dealing with somebody that you're not always aware of what they're doing, what their whereabouts. And teenagers, they can be difficult to figure out.
Exactly, man.
So what were you guys fighting about a year ago? What was was there a theme, pattern?
I don't know, it's just stupid stuff. Like at home, you just get into a little argument, and then it grows into something big, and it kind of grows out of hand. It was usually like cleaning her room, and she was like super, dirty, not caring, and then she was just like leaving the house without telling us, and then returning like at 11 p.m. or even midnight sometimes, and like not answering her phone. She was just like acting very shady almost. First I thought maybe she has a boyfriend, but I don't know about that. I don't see her like talking about anyone. I don't know. So it's kind of been a bit of a question mark.
I don't know if you mentioned this before, but are you married?
I am.
Okay.
I'm married to my wife.
And how's your wife reacting to these fights? Is she involved? Is she?
She's much more neutral.
Uh-huh.
She thinks I'm overthinking, and I'm just like kind of trying to too hard almost to parent her.
Yeah.
But I told her that I'm coming here, and she thought that it's good for us, like as a family, to think maybe the problem is from me. I'm just a little too suspicious towards her, and
She finds you paranoid.
a bit,
Yeah.
yeah. But you know, you hear things. I've had friends whose kids turn into that path, and they wish they did something about it, and this is me doing something about it.
Yeah. How's your daughter reacting when you have you expressed any suspicions to her?
I have the past few times that we fought. I have asked her kind of in the middle of an argument. Like I haven't screamed at her or anything, just kind of a heated conversation that turned into this huge thing because she denied it so and she got so offended and so mad, which kind of gives me a little bit of more of a proof that it could be true. And
she got too defensive.
It almost was like she just kind of turned into this huge offended girl who
made you
thinks,
feel like you touched the nerve there.
Exactly. So that kind of pushed me to even try to dig more. Sometimes try to look for stuff in her room, but it's so messy. I could never find anything.
So you've been handling your worry about her usage by sometimes going as far as checking her room and try to look for substances.
Well, yeah, if I have to pick up her stuff and take it to the room, my mind's been wondering about that stuff. I know it's not right, but just I couldn't help myself but just check her jacket pockets or her jean pockets. But I never went deep.
No, I understand. As a parent, you worry about your
Exactly.
kids. Do you have anybody else that you've talked about this? Is the extended family aware of the issues?
No, it's only my wife and I right now, and my daughter. We try to keep it private as possible.
Yeah. And is this a daily struggle, would you say, that, for example, take the fights, how often do you guys actually get into an altercation?
I'd say 4 times a week at least. It's gotten to almost a routine now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just in the spirit of the first session, me trying to get to know you, understand, let's take a step back and just tell me about a normal day for you outside the context of everything else that you've been talking about.
A normal day for me would be waking up early, around 6:30, 7. We just have breakfast. Sometimes my daughter joins, sometimes she doesn't. And then I go to work. I have a 9 to 5. Come back. And then just try to watch TV or spend some time with my wife and my daughter if she's home. And then sometimes try to go for a run if possible. Sometimes don't because I'm not in the mood.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thing. And then I turn in around 10:30 at night. So it's pretty basic.
How is the time that you spend with your wife? You guys, any hobbies, anything you guys like to do?
No, like to stay in, watch movies, Netflix, and the trending shows. She tries to keep up with current events and news and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm away from all that. So.
That's how you guys spend your alone time, you would say.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned your wife isn't as worried about the situation with your daughter. How does she view the?
I wouldn't say she's not worried. She's she's probably as worried as I am. She just doesn't allow herself to dig as much as I do. Like, we've had fights over when I told her, like, I kind of check her stuff, my daughter's stuff, to see if I'll find something. She was really not cool with it, which I understand, but as a parent, like, I couldn't help myself and do what I thought was right for my daughter or for my family to do. She kind of thinks that, like, all the arguments aren't the way. Like, I ground her, I take her phone away or computer away, and she just like I think that's what she, you know, is. I don't know. Every day, like, she's always on those things, and I feel like if I take that away, it'll kind of like pinch her nerve in her that, oh, I need to like talk to them, like, be truthful,
Yeah,
or I lose these privileges.
I see. How did your daughter react when you take the? How does she
Well,
react to
like
the punishment?
any normal kid, she just lashes out and just bangs the door, and she's all mad. But if I can't, like, I've tried the other way of like sitting down and talking to her and be like, this is what I feel. Like, you should not be doing this. You should be coming home at a certain time. And where she just like completely ignores me, I feel like the next step is to go for the more drastic measures of taking stuff away from her.
I see. And is your wife enforcing the rules as much as you are, or is this more of a thing that you're in charge of making sure?
It's more me.
Yeah.
She's too loving, and she's our only kid, and my wife like really love her, and as much as I do, but she's not trying to be as strict as I am. I guess.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I understand. I know this must be a really stressful time having to.
Yeah.
As far as the therapy goes, how would you describe something that you would want to get out of therapy?
I'd really like to know if I'm being too paranoid, or if I'm doing something wrong that pisses her off so much, and we're having so many fights in a week, or if it's just kind of, you know, the way it's going with a teenager, and like, I'm not really doing anything wrong, and I don't know. I just want to figure out if my parenting and if like the way I am is too much for a teenager like that, or is it actually okay for me to do this stuff for her future, so she like learns a couple things, and if I'm successful and if I am right about her substance abuse or her depression, like, I can prevent those things. I just want to really like first put myself under the question mark before I kind of like go any further with my methods.
I understand. You kind of want to make sure that you are not here overthinking in order to ensure that you don't do anything that would be damaging to your daughter. Okay.